Good morning, guys. It is Health Huddle time. I hope this video finds you guys doing well. Once again, we're so excited to get to bring you guys this information. So thank you for jumping on and joining us. Hi, my name is Madison Book. I'm a clinical social worker with a location in both Greenfield and Oakley, but also able to serve all Kansas residents via telehealth.
And I'm Brooke Briggs. I have Western Roots Medical Clinic here in Greenfield. And we're excited to bring you guys educational information today. Remember, this is just educational information. It does not serve to take place in place of your primary care provider or your mental health provider. So this is always just education. But we thought it's time change coming up. We thought we could bring you guys some information on sleep.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have been feeling it, but man, it is dark when we drive in the morning to wherever we're going, and it is dark when we get home, and our bodies feel that. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I always joke that, like, I'm solar powered, and things feel so much better when I have the sun hitting my skin. And so with the days getting shorter, and then this weekend, the days shifting due to the time change, great time to talk about sleep regression. This isn't just littles that this happens in.
Yes.
And the importance of really taking this time as like a reset and thinking about almost this like hibernation type phase.
And I always start thinking about seasonal depression and seasonal affective disorders when we start to hit this time change. I really do feel, I know they say they peak a little bit later, but man, this is the time where I feel like people are starting to like slide down the slippery slope.
Yeah, so middle of October is when I see it the most, and then people get a little window of things going good if they're around their support system for the holidays, and then January is really hard. So I see it the most in October and January.
Okay, that fits what I see too, definitely. We want to bring you guys some helpful ideas and understanding of what we're looking for when we're talking about sleep. So I think the first thing we could talk about is in general, like, what does healthy sleep look like? And then you guys can evaluate what you see us talking about as healthy sleep or ideal sleep and what you're actually seeing in your life.
Yeah, so I think first things first is the amount. So there's a couple things we look at. The amount, the quality, and the consistency. And so the amount of sleep. This looks different for all ages. It looks different whether your body's in recovery or it's in a healthy state. But man, on average, most individuals that I talk to aren't even starting off with allowing their body an appropriate amount of hours to try to sleep, let alone actually getting that sleep in.
I absolutely see that as a key. Sometimes I'll, very quickly, I think sleep apnea and screening for sleep apnea is so important. So I can't say I probably do a new patient intake without asking you about your sleep. And, my first question is, do you feel like you wake up in the morning feeling rested? And if they say no, I'll say, okay, what's your normal bedtime, your normal wake time? And if you're telling me you're going to bed at 11 and waking up at 4:30 or 5, that the math does not math.
The math is not mathing.
And then thinking about littles, their requirement for sleep is substantially more. And so you may think, oh, well, I get my littles in bed at 9 and we wake up at 6. Well, that's about the time frame that adults need. That's not the time frame that your 8-year-old needs.
Yeah, it was one of our very first health huddles where we had pulled up
sleep charts.
Yeah, and I don't remember whose we pulled up. But anyhow, it was crazy. I didn't think it was quite this much, but up into the age, was it 9 or 10 that they need 11 hours?
Yeah.
Guys, 11 hours. You're not even like in the house for 11 hours.
7 p.m. to 6 a.m. would be 11 hours, right? And so, the younger the child, the more sleep. And we do get that you'll talk to some people and they'll say, oh, I've never been a sleeper. Like, I've always run on less sleep, and then you'll talk to some other people and they'll say, no, for my whole life I've really needed a lot of sleep. But when they go to describe what their lot of sleep is, it's average.
Yeah, like I think about, so myself, I'm an individual who requires sleep. Like I have to get 7 to 9, and if I don't, I'm not going to function. Like that is me. And so being able to consider that, like in different chapters of life when things get hectic, the very first thing I know of why I feel crappy is like sleep. There are people who don't need that amount, but when we're looking at kids, it really is our duty to make sure that we get them in a quiet space, bathed and ready to lay down with enough time to allow them to sleep.
And screen time is a huge, if you have a kid that's not gearing down to sleep well, really, really hard. If you are not gearing down to sleep well, really evaluate your caffeine intake and your screen time prior to sleep, 2 hours prior to sleeping. And then caffeine intake, I say, caffeine past 3 really is not helping you have good quality sleep. And so these are all things that just, I would say, chop off the top of, are you sleeping well or are you not? These are like bare minimum essential type things. Quantity.
Okay, so I want to go back to the screen thing. Guys, did you hear that? 2 hours. I'll be honest, I always push 90 minutes. 90 minutes is a big push. But have you ever, I want you guys to watch this next week. When you get off your phone that you were scrolling on in bed and you go to close your eyes and you're almost like, my eyes are dry. It's because you literally went from being so stimulated, vibrant, bright, your body's being pumped full, like stay alert, and then you said, oh, shut off. And your body literally goes, and it dries our eyes out because it is then trying to flop and have more of that like sleep component take over. But notice if when you close your eyes at night after you just put your phone down, if your eyes are dry.
I also just think of the dopamine issues that happen with screen time and bedtime. And if you're wondering why you or your kid can't like turn down, we really need to evaluate, what's happening right before bed. And this doesn't just include a phone. This is like the TV that's on as well. It's the light that is hitting our eyes that's getting our body's signals. 2 hours, 90 minutes, a long time before you are ready to go to sleep. And that just isn't what our culture looks like in the United States, but that is what our brain is used to.
Yeah. If you have a kiddo who's super wired before bed and that's their calm down is watching screen, a couple playful things to be able to do with them. If they're laid down or you're sitting next to them, have a storm on their back or tell a story. But it could be that there's lightning and then the clouds come and it rains and it grows this. And as you're rubbing and scratching their back, like help them start to soothe, let their body get kind of up and then come back down with you. So storms on their back, you can like go farming on their back. Another thing is being able to read a story with them, have that conversation, start to teach them ways that they can regulate and prepare for bed without a screen.
We also have got to model the behavior.
Yeah.
We really do. If we want our kids to be okay without having screen time 90 minutes before bed, we need to be able to model the behavior. Yeah. And so, those are huge things as far as just getting prepped and then actual like length of sleep needed. Yeah. And then there's a million other factors that play into sleep.
Yeah, the first one that pops up for me is alarms. Oh. Guys, snoozing wrecks us. If you take nothing else from this, snoozing wrecks us. And that's from like my mental health perspective, is because it's alarming to our nervous system multiple times if you're snoozing. It interrupts our sleep wake cycle, which then affects everything else for the rest of the day, especially our mental health and our brain fog. Snoozing, guys. Practice. Change your alarm. And this could be a game. This could be like Simon Says or Hot and Cold, however you want to do it. Pick a new alarm. Practice pretending to sleep. The alarm goes off and you get feet to the floor. And like be goofy with it with your family. Like maybe it's like freeze tag almost, and you run around the house and the alarm goes off and you go, ugh, and everybody freezes. But rewiring our brain that noise actually means something.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when we're in the process of getting rid of snoozing habits, I do think, trying to make a conscious effort of, okay, I'm going to set my alarm at the time I need to get up.
Mm-hmm.
And set your alarm on the opposite side of the room where you have to get out of the bed to turn it off. Or, don't, a lot of people that I know set an alarm 45 minutes prior to when they know they need to get out of the bed, because they know they want to snooze it 7 times before you actually know how you have to get up.
And guys, there are individuals who don't hear their alarms. That is a thing, 100%. But for, let's say, like the average individual, I do feel like changing your snoozing habits can make a big difference. Mm-hmm. Because everything is a learned behavior, every single thing we do. And so if our body knows that snooze number 6 actually means get up, you're never going to get up before that. But what you are doing is you're disrupting your sleep pattern, and now you're waking up in an interrupted state where you're not recharged. Your body likes consistency, it likes to know what's going to happen next. Well, now it's confused because it thought I was waking up here and then brain fog all day long.
I also love to monitor the different stages of sleep. I will actually, a lot of times, when we are looking at someone who's presenting like sleep apnea with like a lot of daytime fatigue and like not waking up feeling rested, sometimes it's an oxygen problem. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a lack of restorative sleep problem. And so there's a few different ways of doing this, but so the Aura ring, or I have a ring called Ring Con, those monitor REM sleep, deep sleep, light sleep, and awake time. Mm-hmm. And then your watches will also monitor REM sleep, light sleep, deep sleep, awake time. And we can look and we can see what's going on within your sleep. How much deep sleep are you getting? How much REM sleep are you getting? If you're not getting REM sleep, your brain is not rejuvenating itself. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times our sleep aids, Benadryl, Ambien, Trazodone, kill REM sleep.
Yeah, part of that is just because our nervous system, what it does is it helps us shut off, not safely welcome. And so because it doesn't safely welcome us to go into a deep sleep, your body feels almost a little on guard, and so it's unable to necessarily get into a REM sleep because it can't hear what's coming. It can't be that calm. And so sleep aids have their place 110%. Absolutely. If you're not sleeping, please do whatever you can to get some level of sleep. Sleep is a non-negotiable. Yes. But if we were going to start to look at better quality sleep, that is one thing to really look at, because that medicine, again, doesn't necessarily welcome us into sleep. It just shuts us off.
Yeah. I learned something super cool the other day, and it was that progesterone at nighttime increases REM sleep by on average 60 minutes. You learn things new. I know my ladies who take progesterone, they're actually implementing progesterone in men as well, which is super cool in hormone replacement therapy. But my women who take progesterone, their anxiety dramatically decreases, their sleep dramatically improves. And so progesterone, I would have to like look up and find the study, but 60 minutes on average more of REM sleep. That is a
That's life changing.
lot more.
Wait, 60 minutes more REM sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, there's a lot of you that aren't getting 60 minutes of REM sleep total.
Yeah. Which would put you from none to 60, which is is like dramatically different.
Wow.
And so when we're looking at these different types of sleep, deep sleep and REM sleep are vastly important to restorative sleep. Yeah. So when we do sleep studies on people, in-person sleep studies, I have several patients who have a version of narcolepsy that just doesn't let them get into REM sleep. And that is why they're waking up feeling tired. Mm. And so there may be a physical reason for you to wake up. You're like, I get 8 hours of sleep at night, Brooke, and I still am so tired. Then we have got to look at it. You cannot be satisfied with waking up after 8 hours of sleep at night feeling tired. Mm-hmm. That's not okay. That is not okay in my book for anybody. And we can't be satisfied with letting your kid go to sleep and waking up with an adequate amount of sleep. There's your key. Feeling tired.
Yeah.
It's really not okay. So the forms of sleep, and like you can do all kinds of fun research where the deep sleep happens, where the REM sleep happens, how much you're awake. All of that really matters. Yeah. And then finally, one other thing that I love to monitor is heart rate variability. And heart rate variability really will tell me how much rest and rejuvenation that a person gets. Mm-hmm. But heart rate variability really is affected by daytime exercise.
100%.
And so if you're running super low on your heart rate variability, and you can look up charts on like what your heart rate variability, and your watches or Oura rings or Ringcon rings will do this for you. But you can look all of that up, and there's averages that you should be hitting, and if you're not, then you can, guys, ChatGPT works really well. Google ChatGPT what your resting heart rate variability, sleeping heart rate variability should be, and then you can look into all these, and these are things we can do without another gadget. Mm-hmm. I would say most people have smartwatches at this point, and so
or know someone that does, and you can borrow it for the week
for a few nights.
Yeah,
would be great.
Yeah,
absolutely. My daughter took mine, so if I would want mine back, you have to borrow from your children, because we all know you gave your children one even if you don't have one. So tell them you need it overnight. But we can't think of a better way to let you guys start your days off better and let your days be better than if you're getting actual restorative sleep.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you feel comfortable. Shoot us a message, call into the office. But we'd be curious to kind of know what is, some of those numbers. What are you guys feeling? And then jump on with us on Friday, and we will kind of summarize this long video and leave you guys with a handful of actionable steps that you can take to work on sleep. But just remember, all of this is just to help you guys advocate for your own well-being. It does not replace medical advice from your primary care or your mental health therapist. But please walk away today